Slick, and I'm also with Itasca Waters and also the U of M with Master Gardeners Extension and this Shoreline program. What we're looking at right now is we are on a slope, and the slope will run down to a lake. And we have a garage where cars come in, an impervious surface. It happens to be gravel. There's some patio there, but regardless, the cars come in and often bring salts in, especially in the winter. And the summer, they've just salted roads, rural roads for dust control. But anyhow, cars will bring in salt, and salt will run down with anything, any amount of water eventually into your nearest water system, which could be a creek, a stream, a lake, but salt will definitely percolate through. And salt is very difficult. The one thing that can absorb some of that are roots from plants. So what happened here was we had this slope, we have a impervious surface garage area with cars. So what we did was on the slope is we planted some native flowers, and we kind of planted them in rows. These are actually honeyberry bushes. They have a very deep root also. These fruit in late June, sometimes earlier in June. They have a beautiful edible berry on them, and they are delicious. They grow very well in northern Minnesota. You can see that. Also, the birds love them if you don't feel like picking them. Then we have another row of deep-rooted plants that are just natural, and then a variety of other bushes and ornamentals and some other berry bushes. So the idea is catching water as it flows and catching the salts and the pollutants that come in on vehicles. So as it runs down this hill, it's being caught by a number of deep root systems. We talked about roots being able to go from, well, turf grass is about a 2-inch root, and then all of the rest of these go feet deep, even to 15 and 20 feet deep. So what you're having is water being stopped, and you're having this will all be blooming soon at different stages because they're all perennial, and you just need to keep some airflow going through it for maintenance. Don't have everything bunched up too tight, and it will stop a lot of those pollutants from running down a hillside. So let's see. There's also ways of doing it. Certainly you can put trees in too if you prefer a tree or a taller bush. I wanted a line of sight so I could see down our driveway, and this worked. This works very well for these kinds of plants and this kind of a slope. So that's about it. What we're showing you here is another example of a rain garden that takes on a lot of water. And what happens here is there's a gutter drain pipe right where I'm pointing at, and it's coming off of about a 20-foot span of roof, which is a large amount of roof. And in the portfolio that we explained to you, there's a kind of interesting equivalent of how many inches of rain can come off a roof in a certain amount of time, and it's more than you ever expect. So we've got this large homeowner roof, and then we have the gutter going underneath the deck and coming down, and there's a few just small rocks down there where the water directly hits. Then it flows into these plants, and you really do not see any erosion going down this slope away from a home. It's another good way to care for any kind of runoff from your roof, and having it being stopped in a way that's very pleasing. These are all perennial plants, and they come up every year, and many of them are deep-rooted plants, and again they'll catch a lot of the water that's coming off of a large roof, so it's not eroding anything.
This is a classic menagerie of unkept lawn. So if you are willing to just let your lawn grow, this is a lot of times what it's going to turn into. We have thrown some seeds, some native plant seeds into it, but you can see raspberries, you can see some daisies, you can see some white campion, you can see some chives, you can see some asparagus. So basically, of course, it looks unattended, and it is unattended, but I don't have to mow it. It's a perfect gathering place for butterflies and a perfect gathering place for bees. It's just a classic way of just leaving something be. This is really not lawn, this is weeds totally. It's just been left that way, but again, we have large root systems underneath here rather than short Kentucky bluegrass roots. Okay?